Hey, y'all, just a quick heads up for this week's episode. We do have a bit of a trigger warning for sexual, physical, and emotional assault. If you are understandably in the current hellscape that we are all in, if that does not feel suitable for you or the people around you might not be in the best mindset for those sorts of discussions and topics, please feel free to skip this week for next week's episode. It'll be the same topic, just different people. Or you can wait 2 weeks. We'll be talking about, and I hate to make a promise on this, American anti-popes. So, yeah, we'll see you then. Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, French candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And Una, this is gonna be a long one, so we're just gonna dive into the horror show of Preview 2022.
Oh, I think I'm there already.
Look, it's been a rough week.
So rough, Dusty.
I'm sure for some people this is a wonderful week. And for us, no, it's been a bad week.
Which makes me wonder, wait, are they our listeners?
I don't want to assume everyone's political leanings going into this.
Fair enough. Very true.
Yeah, like, it's horrific in that way, and also horrific knowing that a lot of LGBTQ friends of mine are fucking terrified right now that suddenly everything in their lives are going to be turned upside down within 2 years. So with that in mind, it's been very, very difficult to focus on a topic, but I soldiered through because I realized it's been a really long time since we talked about an actual race in the primaries that still remains. And it's mostly because most of those got front loaded in May and June. The remaining primaries in June, actually, let me look this up to see who we even have left for this month, because it's, dare I say, not to impugn all the states that are left, but I'm just gonna dub it as boring shit. Let's see here. Oklahoma, all Republicans are gonna, who knows? Now there's some interesting shit in all these states. Utah's pretty much decided. Illinois. Oh, I forgot about Illinois. That's a special time.
I voted on Friday. So to those who tell me to vote harder, I fucking did.
Already voted hardest.
Fucking yeah. Don't know how much. Rock hard, guys. It was a rock hard vote.
I think what I meant to say is that in July, there's one primary in all of July. It's going to be in Maryland. Shrug boat. Who fucking even know? The most Democrat aligned state in the entire nation. I don't have much interest in looking deeper into it.
Yeah, so this is a weird Catholic Democrat.
It's
in Rhode Island.
So I looked a little further ahead to the ones that we have in August. And towards the end of August, things do kind of peter out a little bit. But August 2nd is a goddamn day, Una. It is chock-a-block of stories of things that are going down. And it was kind of difficult for me to pin down which one to talk about. I mean, there's Arizona, which has a current senator race that has a lot of similarities to the Ohio race. And things are a lot closer there with some of the senatorial candidates. So it's something that we could talk about, and we might. There's Michigan, where the governor race has just been a clown show of incompetence, mostly on the GOP side, of people who thought using one of those 4-color pens would be a great way to forge signatures, and leaving behind a very interesting group of people running on the GOP side for governor. So we might talk about that as well. But the one that I'm most interested going in is the Senate race in Missouri. And the reason I'm so excited is typically with these, we talk about one party or the other. Like the Democrat theme this year seems to be pick one high name candidate, throw everything behind it, and kick everyone you can out of the primary. In Missouri, it is loaded with candidates on both sides. So it gives us a chance to really talk about everything that's going on in the state from both sides without having it seem like I'm just dunking on Republicans the entire time, which is a brand. It's just not the brand I really want right now.
Sure. Yeah. Also with Missouri, we have the fun fact that it is now truly illegal to get an abortion or really, have any bodily autonomy for women. So I feel like, hey, these fucking matter. Like, actually, yes, you do need to get out and vote.
Yes. And I mean, Missouri is such an odd state because for quite some time, we did have a Democratic senator for a while. It was mostly thanks due to the guy she was running against saying that, you couldn't get pregnant via rape.
Oh, that guy. Oh, the shutting it down guy?
Yeah, Todd Aiken.
Yeah.
We got a couple, if I believe, like 1 or 2 terms of congresswomanship from Claire McCaskill out of there. So,
yeah.
So like Missouri is not set as like 100% Republican all the time. The races there have actually been really close number of times. It just sometimes it feels like the Democrats have just given up. And so this race I think is really chock-a-block with information. And so
yay.
Starts kind of with an overarching thing, because this race has everything you could want. Unpredictable variables from both major parties, genuine characters, genuine evil villains, people who are, dare I say, unforgivable in how bad they are.
Hmm.
And so going into the primary, there are 21 Republicans running. And
21?
21.
No, it's like you turn 21 and you get a shot for every year you've lived, and then you die of alcohol poisoning. That's how many Republicans there are running right now.
I wish I knew the official liquor of Missouri. I know Budweiser's huge in St. Louis.
Yeah, it's like what is their malort?
I'm just going to assume alcoholic barbecue sauce is a thing and just go from there.
Like if you could take barbecue sauce and make it a grain alcohol.
Oh my God, if you want to get tore up on these fucking ribs. Ooh, alcohol made in Missouri. Here we go. What's the answer? What's it going to be? Ooh, 5 spirits to try. And it is. Yeah, it's pretty much moonshine. It's looking like vodka, bourbon, and rye.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's really none, it seems. But
go get blind.
So we have 21 Republicans. On the Democrat side, we have 11 running.
So much more manageable, but oh my God, this sounds like a sorority hangout.
32 people are running. A kindergarten class of humans are running for governor in the major parties. Not even counting the third party people who are being honestly reasonable, where in theory, there's going to be 7. The final signatures for that aren't until, I believe, August. So there's still a lot of time for people to finish that out. But for now, it's the 32. And so the thing that makes this race so competitive, why you have, nearly 36 people deciding that they want to be governor of Missouri, is that the incumbent senator, Republican Roy Blunt, has decided to retire after serving 2 terms. And, it takes a while for a Senate seat to open up. The terms are 6 years long. And so when you have an incumbent deciding to leave, people just kind of pile on and try their best.
Yeah, gotta take your shot.
So prior to becoming a senator, Roy was a congressman for 14 years, was the Secretary of State of Missouri for 8 years, and president of Southwest Baptist University for 3. Roy's spent most of his political career being a real piece of shit. He has repeatedly voted against raising the federal minimum wage, tried to sneak in an amendment to a highway funding bill that would allow employers to refuse health insurance that paid for birth control or contraceptives, tried to pass a federal marriage amendment that would have constitutionally banned same-sex marriage, voted against bills aimed at stopping workplace discrimination based on sexuality or gender identity, voted to partially privatize Social Security, co-wrote agriculture bills with Monsanto, probably because they were actually his biggest donor, refused to admit that climate change is a thing, supported Trump's travel ban on Muslim-majority countries, voted to acquit Trump in both impeachment hearings, and refused to even vote on the creation of the January 6th committee.
That's right. His name also has like an onomatopoetic quality to it. It's like you hear Roy Blunt, you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He owns a dealership. I shouldn't.
Yes. Come on down, Roy Blunt's Toyotas. We got Nissans.
You know that engine's from a 1978 Datsun. He's fucking turning back odometers on goddamn everything. So yeah, it's no real loss that Roy has decided that he is no longer going to be a senator. Mazel. And I'm certain he'll just either retire with his $5 million in assets, or he'll land a cushy lobbying job, or serve on Monsanto's board or something. Whatever Roy does is going to be terrible, but at least he's not in the Senate. But like I said, since the Senate term is 6 years, when a spot opens up like that, it can be kind of like a Black Friday rush to jump into the race. Hence why we now have 21 Republicans who have hopped in to win a seat that most predictive groups have deemed to be one of the easier seats for the GOP to keep. It's not set in stone, but it's kind of middle ground. And so since we've done the preview 2022 episodes before, I kind of want to run down how we categorize these different candidates. So we're not just doing a whole episode of 21 people. There are the major candidates. These are going to be our front runners for the race, typically the top 3. The mid-level candidates, who are folks with pretty decent polling, but it would take some luck to break into the lead. Low-level candidates who have poor polling, usually 2% or less, but at least have some sort of website or interesting presence.
Must have website.
And then the no-level candidates, who are people with no campaign website and aren't really running anything that could be considered a serious campaign. Just looking at the no-level candidates, who we will not be talking about, that removes 10 people from that list of 21.
10?
10.
10 are just lingerers, just lurchers, clogging it up.
The fucky thing is that of those 10, there's at least 2 who are frequent candidates who have run for office at least a dozen times and still haven't learned maybe you should have a website. Maybe at least get a Twitter.
Maybe do something else with clearly your expendable income.
Right. Yeah. And it does also ensure that I don't have to talk about the one guy who's super into eugenics or the other
Ooh,
guy whose campaign flag is the 1835 Missouri battle flag, which was created
no.
by pro-slavery forces in the anti-slavery Missouri.
Oh,
So yeah, none of those guys are going to win. So it doesn't even fucking matter.
great.
So now we're down to 11. Huzzah. So now we have to go through the 6 candidates that fit the description of low level. Polling low, they kind of have a web presence. We should at least talk about some. So of the 6, it includes Ricky Joyner, who is a master barber who owns 3 of his own shops. There's Deshaun Porter, a travel agent and host of the Big D Zone podcast, who is basing his campaign on Bob Dole's ethos, but also is really pissed that COVID mandates ever happened.
Okay.
There's Dave Sims, who is a city public works employee, and he has a campaign website that uses about a dozen different fonts, including Comic Sans, because why wouldn't you?
No.
That would be bad enough, but when you go to his issues drop down, he has successfully misspelled both speech and immigration.
No.
So that's Dave.
Dave just lost the designer vote. That's for damn sure. Never more than 2 fonts.
There's Hartford Tunnel, who insists on his website that you call him by his nickname, Cougar.
No, absolutely not. I do not vote for date rape.
But what if I told you he's a retired college professor of computer systems?
No,
Ah?
even worse.
His front page has him on his Harley.
Dave, this is a Tinder.
You know, I like when you put it together, the Hartford Cougar Tunnel. It kind of sounds like one of those wilderness things that you would build under a highway to make sure that the local wildlife could get under and be fine. So good old Coug is running on only one political idea, and it's that there needs to be a voting system that is created through a federal agency to ensure that all elections are fair. And I think he kind of implies that he should be the guy to build it, or at least oversee it.
No, your nickname is Cougar.
But amongst these 6, there's one that I would dub in this whole thing the biggest failure of a campaign in the entire race. And it'd be a dude named Dave Schatz. Already an unfortunate last name.
It is unfortunate.
So unlike the other people I named, Dave does have political experience. In fact, he's the president pro tempore of the entire Missouri State Senate.
Okay.
And he's been in the state Senate since 2015. Prior to that, he spent 4 years as a state representative. And I think one of the things to note is that jumping from state senator to senator is kind of skipping some steps if you're looking at promotions. It's been done. It's just if a lot of people are running, it's a big ask of the voting population.
Yeah.
Run for Congress, you know, run for a state row office. These are typically the paths people take to bump up from state legislature to something with a bit more meat on it. As of this recording, Dave has been included in pretty much every poll, but has never been able to get higher than 3% support. And it probably also doesn't help that his campaign features a core set of beliefs that he calls the Missouri way. And parts of it, you know, I should just read it because I feel like I had a lot of questions about it, but I think it needs a second ear to really, really hone in on it. So the Missouri way has 5 key points to it. For me, the Missouri way means focusing more on fixing the problem than fixing the blame.
Oh boy.
What does that mean? Because you can fix a problem. I don't know if blame fixing is a thing.
It's that annoyingly like gotcha catchiness where it's like, no, you think you have a grasp on English.
Yeah, it's like it's got the syncopation to sound like you're saying something important, but I just can't marry the thought. Like, how do you fix blame? Do you like address someone's grievances? Do you fix the way that they're blaming you? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Wait, what is the phrase again?
Focusing more on fixing the problem than fixing the blame.
Yeah, fixing the blame is just like a colloquialism of like blaming people.
Yeah.
Just like pointing and being like, well, it was your fault.
But if you created the problem, shouldn't you be fired? Like,
this is just it. All of it is just like you're trying for folksy and it is backfiring so hard.
Like, I kind of see it if your whole thing is just like, look, we can blame everyone, but we should at least figure out how to fix stuff. Sure, that's at least a sentence. But like, yeah. So that's one. That's how we start. Caring more about the name on the front of your jersey than the one on the back. Which if you know sports, it makes sense. You know, you're more of a team player than a self player. Whatever. 3.
Really? Because okay, whoa,
No,
I'm
go
gonna,
on. No, I
I'm
go too
gonna
fast. Sorry.
pause there because I immediately went to like bowling shirts or like
Oh my
mechanic shirts where
God.
like the thing on the
Oh my
back
God.
is the company and the thing
Right.
on the front is your name.
Right?
So what
Oh
is
man.
it, Shats?
Wait, is Dave Schatz pro union? Because this could be really interesting.
Ooh, talk to me, Shats.
3, working harder to help your families and communities rather than pleasing the mob on Twitter. And look, Dave, I'll say this, man. I get what you're saying. There isn't a man alive that could please Twitter. It is, it's why I don't think Jesus is ever going to come back as long as Twitter's here, because that is an immovable object right there.
Dave, they're coming after you on Twitter because you're saying dumb shit on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like the first part of that statement, Dave, when was the last time you did laundry?
That's a great point. I mean,
Like,
I think it back. I should have clocked how often he tweets in a day and then compare that to like, okay, how often do you like pick up your kids from school?
yeah. Do you consider having to watch your own kids as babysitting?
I mean, I would, but that's why I'm never going to be a dad.
Yeah, that's honest.
Yeah.
That's honest.
4, trusting Americans to know best how to run their own lives and God to direct our steps.
No, which is it, Dave? Like, we are in a predicament right now. You're
No.
right. I should have the right to make my own decision, Dave, but apparently God decides.
He has to sign off on everything. Look, I don't know if you've read the Bible. A lot of shit you got to run by God first.
I'm wearing a poly shirt right now. What do you want from me, Dave?
Go buy a cotton shawl. I don't know.
100% linen as they did unto Egypt.
Yep. Have you washed everything you've touched during a period? No. Go to hell. Buy new shit.
Well, then leave me to my tent. Let me not work for 3 days.
Oh,
Jesus.
Leviticus, you goofball of a chapter. And finally, I just added it because the first time he decided to use all caps lock on something. And never making a promise you don't intend to keep.
Like that time you said you would do laundry, Dave?
I told you I was tweeting. It's important for me to talk to my constituents and tell them they're terrible. And it's those 5 things that Dave promises will balance the budget, stop inflation, kill socialism, and ensure fair trade deals across the board.
I can't. You know what these 5 things are? They are the white wine woman like wall art for men. Like that needs to be on a refurbished piece of wood that has like a little bit of like sanded paint on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like those letters burned into the wood, slightly indented, like pine tar to fill out the letters, held together by the cheapest chain you could find at Lowe's.
That is the white male equivalent of I feel sorry for teetotalers because when they wake up in the morning, that's the best they're ever going to feel.
Oh, God. I mean, not wrong, but yeah. So yeah, that's Dave. Dave, who has a serious political position that is to be respected, isn't even trying to run a campaign in any way that would make him stand out, and it shows. But before we dive into the 5 people with the best chances to win, I want to have a bit of happiness. We deserve it. We owe it to ourselves to have some real,
very much
genuine happiness.
This is self-care.
So amongst the folks polling lower than the others is C.W. Gardner. And I am so charmed by this man. CW, or Christopher as he usually goes by, is a doorman for a condo building in St. Louis. He decided to enter the race after seeing a few of the leading candidates decide to slip on a pair of brand new cowboy boots and cosplay as rural folks, and figured, hey, if that's all I have to do, then I'm totally qualified.
CW, yes.
His campaign Twitter, which is all he has, he doesn't have a campaign website, so you know it's a good Twitter if I'm including him.
Mm-hmm.
His campaign Twitter is also called Gardner for Missouri, correct pronunciation of the state spelled out.
Adorable. Yes.
One of his campaign ads ends with, and I promise to help all the people of Missouri and Missouri.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's even taking care of carpetbaggers like me.
Yeah. So he has been releasing a few campaign ads on his Twitter. And frankly, for the small budget he's working with, they are really, really good. In them, he has expressed support for renewable energy, increased affordable housing, and his own program that he calls Pot for Potholes, where the plan is it's simple 3 steps. Federally legalize marijuana, add a tax to it, and only use that tax money for R&D for fixing potholes forever.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is more than anyone's even considered.
Yeah.
Great.
It's quippy and it's genuinely good. And any money that you could force into infrastructure, fuck yeah.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes. Absolutely.
He also supports statewide high-speed rail and has proposed calling it the Vibe.
CW, you are a natural.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, he talks about it off and on. Recently, Kansas City was awarded a FIFA location for 20, and he was asked, how do you feel about St. Louis not getting it? And he's like, it makes me really wish we had high-speed rail to get there.
You're not wrong.
He's also avidly anti-Trump, and he's referred to Trump as, quote, a coward, and I think he's pathetic.
You're not wrong, CW. And you know why he says that? Because CW actually has a job
Mm-hmm.
and works.
Now, that being said, CW does have a checkered past, and this includes a batch of DUIs that would eventually lead to some jail time and house arrest. But since that time, CW has been sober for 9 years. Admittedly, he says so because he switched from booze to menthols, but,
Hey, listen,
whatever works.
from one California sober to another. No judgment.
And he doesn't shy away from his past at all. He mostly looks at his life as a story of redemption. So he doesn't really, he knows people are going to find out about it. He doesn't really care.
Yeah, it's the best thing you can do in America. Just own up to it.
And all that being said, CW is pretty realistic on his chances. According to St. Louis Today, CW is running mostly for fun with a tinge of seriousness, but also expects to not even come close to winning.
Aw.
CW told them, quote, I should probably start saying it's rigged now to get the issue rolling. And I say this without hyperbole. If anyone deserves to win this race on either side, it is CW Gardner. He is, I could see him doing a really good job because I don't think he really wants it. But if he had to do it, he'd do a good job.
Yeah, he would, at the very least, it sounds like he would bring a very necessary slice of American life to Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Just having come from where he did, that it's not like he had a couple DUIs from Yale.
Yeah. It's just I can see this dude being such a kick-ass doorman too.
Hell yeah.
Brighten your day every time you walk by him. Oh, apparently one of his best friends, the more eccentric of them, immediately said, I'm going to be your campaign manager. And he was just like, fine, have fun.
Yes. This has college Senate race, energy. I'm here for it.
Yes, absolutely. So we don't endorse candidates here on Gadfly, but I'm in love with CW. He's a sweetheart of a person.
Yeah.
Now on to some of the worst fucking people alive in the country.
Oh, well, it was nice.
We'll get back to CW. Okay. I'm actually going to have him end it. He's not here in person, but I think he has a quote that I think is going to be very beneficial for the end of the podcast.
Thank you, Dusty.
So we're going to start with the low-level mid-assholes first before we get to the high-level assholes. Because, Una, I'm sorry, it's assholes all the way down from here.
Yeah, you need to slowly warm that pot that I'm a lobster in.
Ooh, I'm sorry, because I have to start with the person polling the lowest out of the 5. Mark McCloskey was born in 1956 in St. Louis, Missouri. He would get his law degree from Southern Methodist University in 1985. Within 5 years, he was admitted to the bar in Texas, Missouri, Nebraska, and Illinois. He would marry a woman named Patricia, who I believe was also an attorney as well, and the two would work off and on together, as couples do. Mark would build a career mostly focusing on medical malpractice and injuries from car wrecks. Oh, and also suing the fuck out of his neighbors alongside his wife.
No.
You see, Mark and Patricia really love their property.
No, it's that couple. No.
Prior to the thing that you're remembering. So one of the things the McCloskeys did is they live in a private neighborhood called Portland Place. And I don't know if you've been to St. Louis, but there are streets that are literally gated off with wrought iron gates.
Wow.
It would be like if you were driving down Greenleaf and all of a sudden there was a whole block that was just gated off for no reason that you knew of, except there were a lot of really nice houses there and you had no idea how to get through the gates unless you had a clicker.
There's a section in Evanston that kind of does that. The road obviously turns. I think it used to
I know
be.
what one you're talking about. Yeah.
And I don't think the gate opens necessarily, but yeah.
Yep. And so St. Louis is dotted with those sort of private neighborhoods all over the place.
That's wild.
And the McCloskeys are living. So they noticed that there was a communal piece of property that just everyone used, sort of like as I assume a neighborhood park. They decided to assert squatters' rights on it and took it for
No.
themselves.
What?
Another thing that they did was there's a synagogue right next door to where they live, and the synagogue had set a series of beehives, sort of as like an educational thing for kids, and also make honey and ensure there are bees around, which we're kind of low on.
Yes. Pollinate.
But the McCloskeys were pissed off because those bees were coming onto their property and causing issues. So one day they just tore down all the beehives and then sued the synagogue to clean up their mess.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The rabbi of that synagogue referred to the McCloskeys as bullies.
That's the nicest thing he could have said.
Yeah. So it really shouldn't surprise you that these very same McCloskeys are the ones who are famous for pulling guns on Black Lives Matter activists in 2020.
Jesus. Yeah.
Because Mark and Patricia love their fucking property. So the story of actually what happened and what caused that to happen is in June 2020, there were 500 Black Lives Matter protesters who were making their way to a protest at the home of St. Louis Mayor Lyda Cruz. The goal was to demand her resignation for supporting police in the city. So there was a large group going to their home. A smaller group of protesters found out about that and decided that they were going to do a quick shortcut to meet them there. And the shortcut led them through Portland Place. And the McCloskeys saw these people who they didn't know, who were Black, walking through their neighborhood and lost it. Apparently, Mark and Patricia went out and started yelling private property at people, telling them they were, not welcome, that they should go. And when you're two people yelling at a group of multiple dozen, they don't listen to you and they just kind of keep going.
Yeah. And also, it's like, just let us pass. Jesus Christ.
Walking through a fucking neighborhood to get to a place. And so, horribly offended by this disrespect, Mark and Patricia go in to their home. Mark brings out an AR-15 and Patricia brings out her super shiny handgun. I would like to also note at this time that Mark and Patricia aren't very good at gun. Like for people who claim to be huge Second Amendment people, they're really stupid about how they use and hold guns.
They're all stupid, Dusty. The more they love the Second Amendment, the dumber they are.
It's
no one's holding a rifle the way it should, recognizing that it is a weapon.
Yeah, you don't point a gun unless you are going to shoot it, and you don't point it at a person unless you intend to kill. Like, best case scenario, they're out there warning people. You point the gun at the ground and say, I need you to leave my property. That's step one. It's not go out, point gun.
I mean, step one is also maybe people are walking in the street, which we don't own.
Right.
And
it's
they
not
will
cars
pass.
are driving down at you fucks. None of your other neighbors seem to care. I would assume they love the fact that you're so mad.
Yes.
This is like the best day. Patricia in particular, though, there's a picture of her holding her pistol like a used purse, kind of. It's like her hand is up like this, like she's, that hand movement you make when you're trying to make a point where your palm is facing the sky and your wrist is at a 90-degree angle.
It's the equivalent to like a special episode of a 90s sitcom where a bully tries to hand you a joint and it's like, why are you holding the weed like that?
Yeah,
no one holds it like that.
Fucked up his bones.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's holding the gun like that in a way that looks like the triggers, a lot of weight is being put on the trigger from the gun, the way she's holding it. It's just like, there are some guns where that would just immediately go off the way that you're holding it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so eventually, they end up becoming the Twitter main character of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone leaves after yelling at them a little bit, but just being like, we're going to the mayor's house. There's better people to yell at. Just keep going.
Yeah. Fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And so, the McCloskeys would call the police as they're wont to do. And they made the claim that this group of protesters went over the wrought iron fence like zombies in World War Z. It just kind of tore it down and everyone was armed. And Mark has video of everyone being armed. The police would look at the gate and interview some of the neighbors. And the neighbors were like, oh, that damage on the gate? Yeah, it's been like that forever. We'll get it fixed sometime, but it's not a high priority.
Yeah.
As for the video that Mark claims that he filmed, he's never really holding a camera in any of the footage.
I was just going to say, yeah, what video?
Yeah.
Aside from probably their Nest video.
He would eventually claim there's I have the video, but I turned it over to the police. So.
All right, whatever, buddy.
Never fucking existed. So, of course, this was enough to make them alt-right famous. They'd end up speaking at the 2020 GOP convention and had their charges for pointing guns at dozens of people for, let me check, let's see here, walking through a rich person's neighborhood while all black, had the charges pleaded down to misdemeanors and had to pay a $3,000 fine.
Boo. 3,000? That's it?
Yep. And to make things even more fun, Governor Mike Parson completely pardoned both of them.
Boo.
So yeah, that qualifies you to run for Senate, right?
Oh.
So one of the tricky things is that Mark can't call himself an attorney anymore because he's been disbarred by the state of Missouri.
Well,
Wait, let me fix that. By the Missouri Supreme Court actually said that
hey.
you have lost your license.
So someone had sense.
Recently, Mark did appeal that to the Supreme Court, who, are busy, and informed him of that and said, no, it stands. You've lost your license.
We're heartless, but we don't care.
And the fact that he lost his license makes me feel really good about being able to call them a bunch of just, I don't know, frivolous douche canoes, just truly terrible people.
Yes. What are you going to do? Sue us?
I know,
get
right?
a retainer.
Well, you going to go get your wife to sue me, Mark? She going to hold a gun like a dipshit at me? So his platform is boilerplate Trump shit, but I wanted to point out a few particular things that really tell on Mark and who he is. In his section on banning critical race theory, which is at the top of the platform, he states, quote, they want to teach our children to hate their own country, their own culture, and their own religion, which sounds a lot to me like he's talking about a child that is, I don't know, white and Christian, maybe?
Yeah. What religion, Mark?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that. I mean, I was aware, but I wasn't aware.
Yeah, I don't know of that many like Latino Shintoists who are gonna like be mad at what their kids are being taught with CRT.
They're out there, and they are a vocal majority.
I feel like Mark is really worried that this concept might instill them with some sort of, I don't know, shame about a supremacy of some kind. I don't know, man. It's very confusing. He also expresses support for Rand Paul's penny plan, which is super simplistic. The general idea of the penny plan is for every dollar of spending that exists now, you cut a penny. So it's just a roundabout way of saying I'm going to cut all spending by 1%. The weird thing with this, though, is Rand has changed the name of it multiple times. For a while, it's the 6 penny plan. Sometimes it's the 5 penny plan. For a little bit, it's the 3 penny plan. It's just he can't really settle on a number.
Yeah, because of inflation.
God damn it. I think my favorite part of Mark's platform is that under his pro-life section, he states, quote, the Bible teaches us that all life is sacred and should be cherished. Now, I looked really, really hard, but I couldn't find an asterisk for, whenever kids make fun of a bald guy too much. 2 Kings verse 2, verse 23 through 24, where some kids are making fun of Elijah for being bald, and God sends 2 bears to kill 42 children.
I mean, that's just great storytelling.
Why
are we amplifying that?
It's a gnarly action scene, I'll give you that. It's like, I will send a pair of she-bears, grow some fucking hair. I don't want this to be a regular thing, Elijah.
Get a wig.
There also isn't an asterisk for when teens don't stop fucking around with fire. Leviticus chapter 10, verse 2, where Abraham, I believe, like one of his kids is just being a teenage dude and fucking around with fire. And his dad's like, you need to stop doing that. And being a teenager is like, you need to stop doing that. And so God set him on fire.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, it is. This is the first fuck around and find out. Or simply, whenever God wants a complete do-over, Genesis 7, verse 1. So, it's a cute thing to say, but I think you can point out parts of the Bible where God gets a little too pissed off for his own good and views life as less than sacred sometimes.
Which I feel like is truly the parable for the patriarchy.
Look, the Bible is a solid story if you look at it as a man with horrible anger issues who has a kid, mellows out, and has to learn how to deal with his death. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
What pastor doesn't that summarize?
I'd watch Mark Ruffalo do that. A great book, great story. I mean, I don't know how Revelations fits into things after that because, we all have a fall from grace from time to time, but you're going to end the book on that?
For the sequel?
Yeah, he accidentally gets too drunk one night and brings over his friend. Is like, look, man, I gotta tell you about all the awful shit I've been thinking for a millennia, man. There's gonna be fucking insect monsters. There's gonna be like some she-demon.
A plague like you wouldn't believe.
Dude, I bought some horses last night. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but it's gonna be fucking sweet. I haven't been feeding one of them. It's pissed.
My God.
And finally, the things he actually wants to do is protect the Electoral College at all costs.
Good Lord.
Ban 13-year-olds who become pregnant via rape or incest to be able to have an abortion for that. and fighting cancel culture, because clearly you've been so damaged by all of this. I mean, you've been canceled into not being able to run for Senate and having the 5th most popular candidacy.
You lost $3,000 and that was it?
Well, and his law license, but he still gets to live in a huge fucking house surrounded by people who don't like him.
Yeah, the American dream.
But, I mean, Markey is only polling between 4 to 5%. So I guess if more than 95% of the state doesn't support you, maybe that is being canceled.
We can only hope.
I know, right? So we need to go on to someone with more of a chance to actually win. Congressman Billy Long. Billy was born in 1955 in Springfield, Missouri, and has spent the past 10 years serving in Missouri's 7th District. Billy is also an auctioneer, which came in handy when Laura Loomer tried to protest a House hearing on anti-conservative bias in social media. Amidst Laura's yelling, Billy took the mic and pretended to auction off her phone until she left.
Damn.
Much casual laughter was had. But don't let that moment of humanity humanize him too much for you, because he is also a bit of a fuck. He referred to the sexual assault allegations made against Brett Kavanaugh as nothing more than, quote, a kiss on the forehead. He pushed claims that the 2020 election was stolen and is more than excited for the Supreme Court to overturn Obergefell versus Hodges, case that allows for same-sex marriage. The thing, though, is that despite the fact that Billy's been a congressman for a dozen years, he's never really been overwhelmingly popular. He's never run uncontested in any of the GOP primaries, and on average, he gets about 5 candidates running against him in each electoral cycle.
Wow.
He's also never gotten more than 70% of the vote in a primary or a general election. So he's just like, he's sort of the guy that I believe the community is like, yeah, you'll do, but if someone even a little better comes along, you're out. You're gone. Which makes me wonder, why the fuck is this guy deciding that he's gonna run for Senate? Like, what level of approval does he think he's hit where he can win this?
He's all the approval he needs.
I guess.
Dream big, boo-boo.
I mean, it's just so weird for a person who's never even shored up the support of his own district. Is like, I bet the rest of the state would like me better.
Maybe that's just it. It's just like, this district hates me, but wait till I get the other districts.
Bare minimum for me is 69%. It's all uphill everywhere else. And his, it doesn't help that his campaign has, no ideas or platforms. It's just like weird Trumpist platitudes. He's running entirely on the fact that he really likes Donald Trump, and that seems to be all he thinks he has to do. Which,
isn't it though?
Like in 2018, that might have made him unique, but now that's just a basic requirement. It doesn't make you special. It just makes you technically qualified.
True. Yeah, you're just in the middling pack.
Mm-hmm. It's like fill out paperwork. Sign approval of Trump. That's the intro steps for this job.
Yeah. Make a website with 5 typefaces.
Oh my God. That'd be an improvement. His website's a mess. And so, yeah, he's been able to get 8% support. It's never gone higher than that. Billy Long isn't going to win, but he's doing better than Mark McCloskey, and that's at least something.
I'll take it. Which
Which means now we get to move into the 3 people with the most legit shot to win. And we might as well start with another member of Congress who, compared to Billy Long, knows what they're doing. Vicky Hartzler was born in Archie, Missouri in 1960. She'd get her bachelor and master's degree in education from the University of Central Missouri, and then proceed to teach high school home ec for 11 years. In 1994, she'd leave that job and become a member of the Missouri House of Representatives, where she served until 2000. And she resigned after that because she had just adopted a baby girl and wanted to devote her time to being able to raise her.
Sure.
After 4 years, she returned to the political world as the spokeswoman for the Coalition to Protect Marriage. If you had to guess what that innocent-sounding group does.
Oh, no.
Yup. The entire push of the Coalition to Protect Marriage was to pass an amendment to the state constitution that outright banned same-sex marriage. In the 2004 election season, this amendment would be on the primary ballot and won with 70% support.
No.
This made Missouri the first state in the nation to ban same-sex marriage outright.
Wow, congrats.
This law would be deemed unconstitutional after Obergefell v. Hodges, which was a decision in 2015. That's right. The right to be gay married is 7 years old. It's in 2nd grade at best. Vicky would celebrate the win and make it sound like the state was forced into having to make this amendment and, quote, wasn't a battle that we sought out.
Suck it.
Mm-hmm.
You were wrong.
Vicky's not good. at all. In 2000, she would come out against the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment, which would have granted equal rights to all Americans regardless of sex. Now, states had until 1982 to ratify the amendment, but would fail to get the required 3/4 to sign on to make it into the Constitution. When Missouri legislature was debating ratification, it would have been more as a gesture than legally binding, and it might have gotten the process started up again. But it was really, it's kind of more theater than doing something. But that didn't stop Vicky from claiming that if it was ratified, it would be used to legalize abortion and same-sex marriage nationally, that women were being used as a prop to pass liberal ideas.
Wow, really infusing the ghost of Phyllis Schlafly here.
A little bit.
Yeah, damn.
Vicky reminds me a ton of Phyllis in a lot of ways. And you know what? That is the sort of gumption you need for Governor Matt Blunt to take notice and name you the chair of the Missouri Women's Council, where Vicky would serve for 2 years. In 2010, Vicky would come out of candidacy retirement and run for Congress, unseating 17-term Democratic incumbent Ike Skelton. Her career would be defined by her just hatred, really hatred, mostly of gay people, abortions, and her love of general alt-right fuckery. In 2012, she bought into Obama birtherism. She voted to reduce SNAP funding by $39 billion, because she's pro-life. She does not believe in climate change, once tweeting in regards to a sudden cold snap, quote, "Global warming strikes America. Brr." Because we all know America is the whole globe.
I can't.
If it wasn't for her outright fervence with the homophobia, I would almost believe that this was cosplay, like her just saying shit to get the votes. I think she's a true fucking believer in this shit.
Yeah. But how is she winning Missouri?
I
collect yourself.
I imagine she's really popular amongst the bastard husband population.
And I mean, yeah, I'm sure also the women who are like, well, I'm voting for a woman who believes the same.
She's just protecting
safe values. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a bunch of trad wives who are just like, yeah, she's protecting the culture that I've grown up in. So she hates the Equality Act, which would offer workplace protections for LGBTQ plus people, claiming it would lead to the death of women's rights.
No, you were the death of women's rights, madam.
At first I was confused, and then I realized what she meant. What she means is youth sport. Vicky's new thing is she is fervently against trans youths doing sport. She has outright said that she thinks the only reason that there are trans women in sports is to gain access to bathrooms, locker rooms, and the like. I don't think she's ever had that statement of like, hey, you know what's going to be really great for your life? Upending your hormones during a period of time that is the most dramatic to live in high school, surrounded by people who are not very kind when it comes to change or difference, and making that your fucking life, only to get to see women naked. The internet exists, Vicky. This is an expensive solution that creeps have found the solution to for years.
That's just
it. It's just walk in.
You're describing Porky's.
Right. The documentary Porky's.
You're describing cis men.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there is no cis creep who is going to go through the process, with maybe Chris Chan being the one exception. And if you don't know who that is, I'm not going to ruin your life. But yeah, that's not a fucking thing, Vicky.
That's not another woman just trying to pee.
Right. It doesn't fucking matter. She also believes that gender affirming care leads to sterilization of children, which I don't know if she's just being stupid or a stochastic terrorist or both. It could probably be both. And of course, she supports conversion therapy. And if you're worried she might be a TERF, well, calm your worries, because she also voted against reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act.
What?
She's just bad. She's just a bad person. And to round it all out, she voted to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
I mean, of course, that's just a cherry on top of this shit sandwich.
I mean, wouldn't that just be the twist if she was like, no, that was a real election? That's my line.
No, sir. I believe in democracy.
Like, if she did that, she'd be as popular as Liz Cheney right now.
Oh, yes, exactly.
So here's usually where I would mock Vicky for not having a platform on her website, but she's really done the devil's work in making sure people know what she's about without even needing to have a platform. She's put in the fucking time.
Yeah.
And to hammer the point home even harder, one of her 30-second TV ads is entirely about Leah Thomas, a transgender swimmer on the University of Pennsylvania women's team. Back in March, Leah would win the NCAA Division I National Championship in the 500-yard freestyle, which led the right to lose their goddamn minds and for the International Swimming Federation to ban all trans athletes from participating. So yeah, if you want a transphobic and homophobic piece of shit who only wears the tackiest of leather jackets to formal events, they're the worst. They're all bad. Her formal picture is her in a red leather jacket. Red never comes out well in leather, ever. God damn it, Vicky.
Oh my God.
You're not going to fucking Sturgis. You're in Congress. So yeah, so if you want that fucking goblin, then, lucky, good, I guess, whatever. She's polling in third with an aggregate of 18.3%, which is kind of fucky because, yeah, the winner of this isn't going to really need a high percentage of votes to get the nomination.
Oh.
On to the dude with the second best chance to win. We have the current state attorney general, Eric Schmidt. Eric was born in 1975 in Bridgeton, Missouri, which was labeled as a second circle suburb of St. Louis. So I guess it's like a suburb of a suburb.
Okay.
I guess.
Sure, fine.
He'd get his bachelor's degree in political science from Truman State University and then got his law degree from St. Louis University. In 2000, he'd passed the Missouri bar, become partner of a law firm in Clayton, and became an alderman in Glendale, Missouri from 2005 to 2008. And, once you get that first taste, you'll want a promotion. You got to do more. In 2008,
the chase.
I know look, I'm no better. I feel like I'd fall into that too. Like, if I won comptroller of a small town, I'd be like, I bet I could ride this all the way to Senate.
I'm going to be president.
Why not me? I'm delusional. Yeah,
I didn't get into this to help people.
No, I did this for self-satisfaction until I die. So in 2008,
dragon.
Look, you either run for office or start heroin. And it's the two genders. We have no choice.
I wish these people started heroin, but continue.
Oh my God. Heroin, you need to work harder.
Yeah.
So in 2008, Eric decides he's going to run for state senate, and he won 55 to 45. And then the next year, he got reelected after redistricting, completely unopposed. No primary candidate, no general candidate, just like, hey, you get to win, have fun. And Eric would end up spending his time in the state senate, weirdly enough, not being an outright ghoul. He worked on bipartisan legislation to end police quotas and set a limit to the percentage of non-traffic fines that could make up a city budget. So you could have a bunch of traffic fines. You're just only allowed to use a portion of that. So you're not turning your town into a speed trap. You're not pulling people over for frivolous reasons. And yeah, that's a law. That's a law I can get behind. That's a good law.
Mm-hmm.
However, he also pushed for Missouri to copy a bit of a tax program that had been labeled the Kansas experiment.
No.
Oh, you're aware?
The failure? Yeah.
So this particular experiment was a tax plan created by Republican Governor Sam Brownback of Kansas to be, quote, one of the largest income tax cuts in Kansas history. Cuts included lowering income tax for the rich. It was essentially he knocked down the percentage that they had to pay to the percentage that middle class people had to pay, while also cutting half a percentage for lower income people as well, with the promise that in the future we're going to lower it again. The big issue, the big enchilada, if you will, was he decided to completely eliminate taxation of what was called pass-through income. To my understanding, say you are running a business and you're the sole proprietor of that business. The business and you are essentially the same. Typically in Kansas, you would get taxed 7% on that income because it is your income and the business income. So we have to tax it for something. And Sam is like, no, we're going to lower that to 0. And this is going to bring people in. We're going to have more businesses. We're going to have more product. We're going to have more hiring. This is the thing that we can use to get more people into Kansas. The thing, though, is he knew that this was going to end up destroying revenue, or at least getting rid of a pretty huge revenue stream. So he had a couple ideas to be able to balance that out. For one, he's going to raise the state sales tax. And two, he wanted to remove some deductions and tax credits that people would have been able to take, but now no longer could. So he sent the bill to the state legislature. They said, well, we really like this. Good first draft. But we're going to cut out that part about raising the state sales tax and all the tax deductions going away.
Oh my God.
And then just passed it without the safety nets.
Oh my God.
And Sam Brownback signed it. He was fine with it. He was like, okay, why not?
Idiot.
You guys think it's going to be okay? So folks had really strong opinions on both sides. People against the bill warned of a heretofore unseen budget crisis, using words that would normally be hyperbolic if someone in government said it. But it's like if someone at the National Weather Service says a catastrophic, never before seen storm is coming, you know it's going to be bad because they don't use language like that.
Yeah. No one wants to be Cassandra.
No one does. Supporters of the bill would claim that it would end up creating 23,000 jobs and that the bill would actually lead to an increase in tax revenue of $323 million. And to counter that, some nerds in the state legislature research department found that no, it looks like there's actually going to be a budget shortfall around 2014. And if we keep doing this by 2018, the state's going to be in debt by $2.5 billion.
Oh.
And to these concerns, Brownback would say, quote, on taxes, you need to get your overall rates down. You need to get your social manipulation out of it, in my estimation, to create growth. We'll see how it works. We'll have a real live experiment.
Because that's what the people of Kansas want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know how scientists...
To be treated like the people of Chile in the 70s.
I mean, you know how scientists operate. You come up with a hypothesis, you create a control, and you make sure that the experiment affects the most people possible during the first go. And true to the researchers' hypotheses, the monthly revenue of the Kansas government crashed in the spring of 2014, to which Brownback just ignored what was happening and declared the whole thing, quote, a Midwest renaissance rooted in Reagan formula. The thing though was Sam really couldn't ignore the lowering state budget, and by 2017, things had gone from pretty bad to very bleak. Over 4 years, there would be 9 budget cuts. The state would miss multiple payments on past debt. And the state's credit rating would be downgraded 3 times. Construction projects were halted. Pension contributions and Medicaid benefits were cut. 9 social service offices had to be closed across the state. The state's arts commission had to be completely defunded, making Kansas the only state in the nation without a funded arts program.
Wow.
And public school funding was gutted. This resulted in schools being forced to end their years early, getting rid of multiple programs, cutting down on basic maintenance, laying off teachers, janitors, and librarians, increasing class sizes to deal with the layoffs, amongst other things. And some schools were flat out closed forever. And by then, the state had kind of had enough. The legislature voted to repeal the tax law, which Brownback vetoed.
Oh my God, Brownback. Like the epitome of high on your own supply.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where, like, if you surround yourself with enough people to say you're doing okay, you're going to ignore everyone in the street yelling at you.
And to be clear, and maybe you're getting to this as well, but the reason I had such a strong reaction when you initially mentioned the Kansas experiment was because it, like, so many of the economists who really believe in this Michigas, like, like just so thoroughly double down on this sense of this, like, no, you're just not, you just have to see it to the long run. You got to see it to the long run. Well, meanwhile, as Kansas is completely tanking in real time, Minnesota decided their own experiment where they were going to raise taxes on businesses, and they are thriving.
Wow, what about that?
How about
that? Blows
that?
My mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocked.
Oh, guess what? Target didn't move its headquarters. They're fine with it.
I don't know why Minnesota would do this to business. It's very unfair. So Brownback vetoes it, to which the legislature then overrides the veto.
Good.
Gets rid of the tax issues.
Never says they're sorry, but fine.
Nope. And so Sam wouldn't end up serving the rest of his term. He was offered a job in the Trump administration as the U.S. ambassador at large for international religious freedom. Apparently, it's a real job. It was made in 1999.
Oh, man.
And in 2018, Kansas would elect Laura Kelly to governor, their first Democrat in the seat since 2010. So,
God bless. Good luck.
Consequences to actions.
Yeah.
She seems to have done a pretty good job in the wake of everything, all things considered. So Schmidt would end up getting a version of the Kansas experiment passed. And, you know, I guess it was successful because statewide income tax dropped a whole 0.1% in 4 years.
Wow. Hats off.
Congratulations, you done it. But you know what? Fuck all that. It's 2016 and Erica's term limited as a state senator, and it's time for a fucking promotion. He would decide to run for state treasurer, seeing how he feels about taxes and all. And he'd run unopposed for the GOP primary, easily won the general 56-39. And his tenure as treasurer is some boring by the book shit. He did his job and he seemed to do a good job. He did things like, hey, I'm going to create a website for online transparency and government spending. I'm going to create a college savings program that has been very successful across the Midwest.
Eric, Bubby.
Yeah, it's just the boring shit that comes with the job of treasurer. You can't make a lot of waves as treasurer.
But you could actually do some good for some people.
Yeah, like the worst you can do is take the money. And I don't think anyone succeeded at that yet. So
it's called embezzlement.
Yeah, I'm embezzling one paycheck at a time. We'll see how this works. But Eric would actually end up being in line for what we would consider an honest to God promotion. In 2018, Josh Hawley would decide he was going to run for Senate. He'd win, and seeing how Hawley had been the attorney general, the state needed to fill the space. And Governor Mike Parson got to decide who that was. And he figured Eric, Eric has a legal background. He's already in state office. We'll just promote him. Eric Schmidt could be our new attorney general.
Hey, done and done.
And Eric proceeded to grab as many headlines as he goddamn could. As is tradition, he sued multiple times to have Obamacare invalidated. He would support state legislators who refused to implement a constitutional amendment to expand Medicare after the people of the state voted for them to do it 53 to 47.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, he would propose that all legislatures had to do was just not put Medicare in the funding for the year, and that'd be fine. Plus, he believed that despite the legally binding vote, the state had every right to just ignore it.
Yeah, will of the people. Fuck
This is something that becomes a theme for Eric. He seems to really thrive on feels than precedent. Throughout COVID, he repeatedly sued St. Louis County, Jackson County, and multiple school districts for implementing mask and dining mandates. But he also sued televangelist Jim Baker because Jim was selling something called Silver Solution, which is just like, medical silver, essentially.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is going to treat COVID and cure it. So that was a slam dunk move. Just sue him because that's a crime. It's an easy win.
Yeah. Balances out the books.
To go in the other realm of difficult win, Mark sued China, all of China, because COVID came from there, and he was blaming them. So he sued all of China.
Oh, when American litigious society gets too dumb for its own good.
If Bush had agreed to let America into the international court, maybe this could have happened. And of course, it's not a real batch of frivolous COVID lawsuits without suing Joe Biden for requiring vaccination for healthcare workers. Oh, and you remember Mark McCloskey, that dick shit? Eric requested a dismissal of all charges placed against him and his wife. He didn't get it, but he did get like the lowered charges. But I would say one of the grandest moments of legal fuckery during his entire attorney general career would come when he filed a legal brief that the First Amendment allowed government officials to withhold records, citing the Sunshine Act as his reasoning. So the government in the Sunshine Act was passed federally in 1976, and it guarantees that nearly all meetings of government agencies will remain open to the public. The definition of meetings is like if something is being decided, it counts as a meeting. And if there's not like a public thing where people can show up, you can subpoena emails, phone calls, basic FOIA requests and things like that. It's the law that says all of that has to be given and has to be kept public. But there are some stipulations of things that you can't release. It can't be a matter of defense safety. It can't be anything that's top secret. Anything that would put the nation in general danger is allowed to be redacted and hidden. And so Eric is using that stipulation to state that the First Amendment says it would be a violation of the First Amendment to supply information. Now, it's important to know what case he's talking about, though. The reason he even filed this is due to a defamation lawsuit filed by the former mayor of Scott City, Ron Cummins, against State Representative Holly Redder. Cummins claimed that Redder made allegations against him of corruption and stealing from public funds, and did so after law enforcement informed Holly that, no, a crime didn't happen. Redder's lawyer would state that she had not acted in malice, which is the thing that you have to do to be found guilty of defamation. I have to know for a fact I don't believe what I'm saying, and I'm saying it purposely to ruin you.
Right, which is very hard to prove.
Exactly. And they'd made the point that even if local law enforcement said nothing happened, cops lie. And Holly could still very much believe that, you might not have found the corruption. You might be hiding the corruption. I could still say this and believe it, and it's not defamation. And so John Cummins' lawyer went ahead and said, okay, if we're going to do this defamation suit, I need booklets of information from Holly Redder, anything that I can get from FOIA requests from her office, any discussions that she might have had regarding this issue to see whether or not she was being malicious and knew she was being malicious. To which Eric Schmidt shows up and says, actually, that is a violation of her privacy being allowed to say these things, and it may release information that is not needed by the public. And so, no, you can't ask for these things. That is my legal opinion, and I have no association with this case, but here I am.
Oh, you thought you could do discovery as a regular lawyer does?
No.
It's
worse when you point out that that's called discovery, and Eric is essentially trying to ban discovery.
under the Sunshine Act.
So the thing is, when you file a legal brief, that thing becomes public where people can read it. And a lot of law experts started to read it. Specifically, Gene Menike, the attorney of the Missouri Press Association. And after reading the brief, Jane realized that Eric hadn't listed a single ounce of case law to prove his point.
Ah,
He's like, I feel like it's this.
I feel like maybe don't.
How about we just go avant-garde with this and I just don't cite precedent, man? What if this is the precedent, man? Yeah, and so after people started pointing out, they're like, yeah, this is dumb. This doesn't mean anything. He retracted the brief and pretended it didn't exist.
Idiot.
And he washed this down by suing Joe Biden for ending the Keystone XL pipeline. It probably goes without saying at this point, but he also believes the 2020 election was stolen and wrote the amicus brief for the case that went to the Supreme Court to overturn the election. And then there's the darkest side of Eric Schmidt. If all this wasn't bad enough, Eric Schmidt seems to really not want to release wrongfully convicted men from jail. And I would like you to note that I use the plural men. In 1994, Lamar Johnson would be convicted of the murder of Marcus Boyd solely on the eyewitness testimony of one person. In 2019, a conviction integrity unit would find that there was overwhelming evidence of Lamar's innocence, that he should be released from prison immediately. There's also Kevin Strickland, who was convicted of a triple murder in 1979 and was convicted by an all-white jury. In 2020, the Kansas City Star investigated the case and found so much evidence for his innocence that the prosecutors who put him in jail in the first place came out and said he should be released immediately.
That's as close as you're getting to a mea culpa for lawyers, too.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And to all of this, Eric Schmidt has not just refused to release them, but has actively claimed that they are guilty, going as far as to subpoena the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office for all the communication she made regarding the Strickland case, including any talks that she might have had with the Kansas City Star. And yes, Johnson and Strickland are both black men, and it would be pretty easy to jump to assuming that Eric, I don't know, he might be a racist. Maybe I need more evidence to be able to state that without it being, I don't know, malicious. Like, I don't know, maybe him going on Glenn Beck's show and promoting the Great Replacement Theory, which on its face is the fear baiting that white people will become a minority in this country due to immigration, but has a fucked up deeper belief that globalist Jews are encouraging the population growth of people of color to destroy the white race. So yeah, Eric Schmidt is a fucking racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that without malice.
Yeah.
That is a proof I am good.
You're already doing better than his briefs.
Thankfully, the dude doesn't really have a platform. It's a lot of what I call grievance paragraphs where, it's meant to kind of sound like a platform, but is really just him bitching about a topic and then saying, this shouldn't be the way it is, and then offering no solutions whatsoever.
Great. Yep. Love it.
And as I said, Eric is currently polling second, netting an aggregate of 21.3%, which leads us to our last person.
Satan.
The man in the lead, and somehow after all of that, still worse than everyone else that we've talked about.
I'm terrified.
Former Governor Eric Greitens. So this second Eric was born in 1974 in St. Louis, Missouri. He would get his bachelor's degree in ethics, philosophy, and public policy from Duke University, after which he was selected as a Rhodes Scholar, which he then used to go to Oxford University, where he got his master's and PhD in philosophy.
What?
Yup. He's a philosophy doctor. And he did what any doctor of philosophy would do after getting his degree. He joined the Navy Reserves and became a Navy SEAL.
What?
He would eventually be promoted to lieutenant commander and have an extensive military career that saw him deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, Thailand, and Kenya. He would lead a special operations task unit and an al-Qaeda targeting cell. He would end up earning the Bronze Star and got the Purple Heart after being a victim of a suicide bombing in Iraq, where it was essentially an explosion of chlorine gas that he inhaled on detonation.
Ooh.
When he came back from his tours of duty, Eric would found the Mission Continues, a nonprofit that does mostly leadership programs for veterans, along with some community initiatives that were led by local chapters. I have strong opinions when it comes to a lot of veteran social services. Some of them are extremely good. A number of them their whole goal is finding veterans housing and building housing for unhoused veterans and things like that. A lot of them focus on PTSD care, being able to help connect people to various forms of post-traumatic therapy, including acupuncture and, psychotherapy, things like that. There are groups that really work their butts off to ensure that veterans have the services they need when they come home. The Mission Continues is something I would file under, I guess, I guess that's something. Like,
Uh,
leadership programs are good, and it's like I'm shocked that that isn't something that you get in the military. Like, you aren't taught leadership.
oh,
Like,
that's
maybe if you're a private, or maybe if you're not a high-ranking person, that's something you can get, and maybe like learning how to translate that to the private sector. I
maybe,
guess.
yeah.
But it's like it's stuff like that where it's like I see what you're doing, but I don't know if you're addressing the key issues.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and there's like a number of organizations like that where it's, on its face, it's doing work, but is it the work that is most needed? Either which way, he founds this nonprofit and it goes gangbusters. It ends up gaining multiple accolades for the work that they've done, and for multiple years is rated as one of the best workplaces in the entire country. Eric would parlay this into becoming a renowned public speaker and wrote a number of memoir-ish books as well. And up until 2015, he was a registered Democrat. In fact, most of his fellow SEALs remember him as a card-carrying Democrat the entire time they knew him. That year, in 2015, he just published his third book. His star was about as bright as it can get in the nonprofit motivational speaker world. And he would write an op-ed in Fox News to announce his shift to the right, claiming that the mismanagement of the Department of Veterans Affairs led him to become a Republican. Which is really weird that he would announce his candidacy for governor of Missouri shortly after writing that op-ed. Eric would win a pair of close elections, but won the governor's seat 51 to 45. And while Eric had a pretty busy tenure, it would be constantly interrupted and cut short by every chicken coming home and saying, hey, I'd like to roost here. It seems the consequences of your actions are a nice place for us to hang out.
Had he fucked around? Was he now finding out?
Oh, he diversified his fucking around, and his finding out returns came back at the same time.
Oh no.
So on the lower level, but still bad, the Kansas City Star found that Eric and his senior members of staff were using a chat app called Confide to chat. The issue is that it's one of those chat apps that deletes the message the second it's read.
And if this is government,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
it violates FOIA and the Sunshine Act if you're doing that, buddy.
Yeah.
Or at least
Not that other Eric has a problem with it, but the rest of America might have a problem with it.
I mean, one person who didn't was Josh Hawley, who would come back and say, no, there's no wrongdoing using this app. You're good.
Yeah, but he is Satan.
In 2018, the Associated Press would look into Eric's nonprofit, and wouldn't you know, they found some really weird shit. For one, Eric was making a lot of money as CEO. From 2010 to 2013, Eric had been paid $150,000 to $200,000 annually as CEO. He ended up netting a full income of $700,000 by the time he left. But the Associated Press would note, like, yeah, that's higher than average, but we've seen worse.
That's a yeah.
Like, it's bad, but what are you gonna do? The thing that was a big issue, though, is that during Eric's run for governor, he was using his charity email to set up meetings with various contributors and things like that. And that is a violation of federal tax law. If you're running for office, you have to use a specific email associated with the campaign.
Oh no.
But even worse, he was accused of using his list of charity donors to raise money for his campaign, which is a violation of campaign finance law.
Eric, you're so sloppy.
I think he lived a life of being praised so fucking much that I think he assumed he could just get away with it and he didn't actually have to try. He's Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL. Who's gonna think he's a bad guy?
He was a Democrat.
Yeah.
But now he's a Republican.
I don't know if you remember, but around this time, people were seriously thinking, like, this guy could be president in like 10 years.
We love a war vet.
Which leads us to the real fucked up shit that Greitens couldn't get ignored. And we had a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode. This is where it kicks in.
Yes. Okay. So I do recognize his name. I thought he might have been in Kansas, but no, go on. It's horrible.
So yeah, so if you have changed your mind on how far you would like to dive in on this, now is a good time to bail.
Yeah, by all means, go watch some Our Flag Means Death.
Oh my God, love that show. On January 10th, 2018, Eric would make a public statement admitting to an affair that he had with his hairdresser in 2015. He stated that he and his wife had discussed the matter and had begun to move on and heal from this. He stated, quote, it was a deeply personal mistake and that he just wanted the privacy to move on with his family. Now, Eric had made this statement due to a local CBS station, KMOV, asking him for comment on the story that they were planning to run that night. And I'm sure Eric felt like that he was going to be in the clear. He was just beating the punch. He was getting the news out first. And whatever they had was just going to be like, creep has affair, man, just move on from there. But what he didn't seem to know was the depth of detail that KMOV had acquired. In an interview with the station, the hairstylist and her ex-husband detailed what Greitens had actually done. She stated that Eric had been invited over for an evening of sex stuff, that she had consented to being undressed, blindfolded, and having her hands bound above her head to a set of exercise rings. But while she was blindfolded, Eric took pictures of her, which he had not consented to. After they had finished, Eric told her that he had taken the pictures and threatened her that if she ever went public about their affair, that he would anonymously post them online and ruin her name. She tried to leave, but Greitens gripped her in a bear hug and pulled her to the floor, and he then raped her. After this, he let her leave. However, Eric would take future encounters to torment and abuse her whenever he could. She told members that the very last time that she saw him, he slapped her, grabbed her, and threw her to the ground. And I'm sure there's going to be assholes who say, well, it's her word against his word, and no one else, was there, and she probably just wants fame and money. And, I sold my soul for a warm six-pack of Keystone Light about a decade ago, and why don't women like me? And to them, I say, there's a good reason women don't like you, but also, if you want another witness, we got one last month. Eric's ex-wife, in a sworn statement during the ongoing custody hearings that are going on, stated that Eric physically abused her, stole her phone, wallet, and keys to keep her from, quote, damaging his political career, beat their two sons on multiple occasions, ordered her to delete emails between her and her therapist, threatened that he would tell everyone that she was abusing her children, accused her of leaking information to newspapers and media, and repeatedly made threats to kill himself if he ever lost public support. So yeah, he is, based on these allegations and the fact that he suddenly decides to switch entire ethos, dare I say, might be a sociopath.
Yeah. Waving the wand of allegedly and everything and just hypothetical. Yeah. I also have to ask, I wonder what he got up to in Iraq,
Mm-hmm. Well, but yeah, I actually kind of have an answer for that.
Oh no.
Other than getting to choke on chlorine gas, which I feel less bad about.
It's not great.
Yeah, he described it as having a lit lighter shoved in your mouth, which is a start. So Eric would deny these charges of blackmail and claim that those pictures of the hairdresser never existed. Josh Hawley would state that he didn't have jurisdiction to look into the case and left it for the city attorney of St. Louis to file blackmail charges. By late February, a month after the allegations came to light, Eric would be indicted on charges of felony invasion of privacy charges. However, that charge would be dropped by May because they were never able to track down the photos that Greitens had allegedly taken. And so all the charges that he would face were now gone. By then, though, the damage had been done. While Eric wouldn't be facing criminal charges, the state legislature had begun impeachment hearings. Greitens would resign from office 11 days after the hearings started. This might have been also sweetened a little bit by the St. Louis prosecutor's office, who said, hey, if you resign, we're going to drop those campaign finance charges that we had for you using your donor list. Just like a little deal, a little no fine deal. If you just
I'm glad he's out of office, but I'm still furious. This guy needs to see the inside of a courtroom at least.
In total, Eric served 508 days, which is the 10th shortest tenure of any Missouri governor and the shortest of any governor in the state elected after 1861. In the wake of the scandal, with nowhere to go, Eric would turn to Mike Pence to ask a favor. He wanted to get back into the Navy Reserves because prior to asking Mike Pence, he'd been trying to get in and they repeatedly told him, no, we don't want you. Mike pulled all the strings he could and Eric was allowed back in. The problem now, though, was figuring out where to put him because no one wanted him.
Yeah, where will he do the least amount of damage?
And the top of that list were the Navy SEALs, who stated in no uncertain terms that there are no circumstances that would exist for him to be allowed back in.
Good.
The New Yorker found a number of SEALs who spoke in the condition of anonymity as to why the vast majority of them do not like Eric Greitens. For one, he may have previously fought in Iraq as a Navy reservist, but he never saw action as a Navy SEAL. And a number of SEALs spoke to the magazine stating a strong dislike for a non-combat SEAL becoming a national figurehead for all of them. But also, Eric spent his career as a SEAL being a narc. In 2004, he was a junior officer in the SEALs and was sent to Thailand for a training mission. It was a general kind of observe the veteran staff, see how experienced SEALs do their work, stay out of everything, just watch how they operate and do their things, learn from this so that when we do assign you to a unit, you at least get an idea of what to do and what people before you have done. So for Eric, going to Thailand was a really big deal. For the senior SEALs who were already in Thailand, this was a vacation because after this, they were going to be sent to Iraq to replace a SEAL team that was already there. So they were using this as a last chance to drink a fuck ton of liquor, do all the drugs they could, and hire a ton of sex work.
Yes, Thailand is a beautiful country.
And Eric, being the fucking dweeb he is, noticed that one of the most highly respected people on the SEAL team, Scott Hobbs, I think he might have done a drug. And like, I have to tell someone, but I can't tell my commanding officers who are here. They might be in on it. In fact, everyone stationed here in Thailand is probably in on it. You know, everyone loves Scott, so they're not gonna fucking do what they have to do with this. So Eric contacted the highest person he could outside of Thailand and said, hey, I think this SEAL team is high.
These guys are going into an active war zone.
And suddenly a bunch of drug tests show up.
No.
Scott immediately says, guys, I think we have a rat. 2 teams are sent home to America to face court martials.
No.
Meanwhile, the teams they were meant to replace in Iraq have to extend their tour.
Oh, that there isn't a bullet with Eric's name on it somewhere.
Oh, people were asking, why the fuck did this happen? And word spread very quickly that, oh, it's Eric Greitens. He's the reason you have to stay in Iraq longer. He's the reason you have a court martial.
Wow. Oh, wow. Ugh.
Well, and the reason that Eric is still alive to this day is senior command loved that he did this. They were like, this is wonderful. You're rooting out corruption in our ranks. You did a good thing. And so they sent him to Kenya, sort of as like a commander role where he wouldn't have to go fight, that he would be able to oversee things. But they did this also knowing that very shortly after that, he would be taking a position as a White House fellow and would be gone.
Yeah. So, that brotherly camaraderie that everyone talks about with the military, yeah, we can just put it to the side.
And that's the extent of his SEAL experience.
That's it.
Which brings up a lot of the reasons why they're so pissed off, because he's running for governor during a time that being a Navy SEAL is a very popular celebrity thing. Lone Survivor had just come out. SEAL Team 6 was a big thing because Osama bin Laden had just been killed.
Right.
And
Yeah.
being a Navy SEAL was a big fucking deal. And Eric, with every introduction, it would always be, I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL. And there are just all these people who are like, you've done shit. You are building your career on the backs of the dead when you've done nothing. But luckily, the Navy Reserves wouldn't have to worry about where to put Eric, because eventually he'd decide, I'm going to run for Senate. I'm going to regain my good name.
Oh, no.
He resigned his commission in the Navy Reserves in 2021 and set to work regaining the prestige he held before his own actions brought everything down. And of course, he doesn't have a campaign platform. Why would he? He's in the lead after all.
He's Eric fucking Carnes, Navy SEAL.
And what platform is going to convince people that already think he's a blackmailing rapist stumble fucking his way into fraud at every turn?
No, the less said, the better.
So instead, I kind of have to look at his campaign videos to get an idea of what he might support. And the answer, at least based on his most infamous ad, is fascism.
I mean,
Now,
are we
Una,
surprised?
I'm going to do a screen share here, and we're going to watch his 38-second ad, which when you see the screen, it will say the nice Twitter thing of, this tweet violated the Twitter rules about abusive behavior. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain accessible.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice. Join the MAGA crew, get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
Thoughts?
I heard about this commercial. Yes, that afterwards everyone was just like, you're suggesting killing people. Yes. And he was like, no, what? No, how could you possibly take that stance? And it was like, you're literally suggesting to kill people.
Yeah. So for the people who haven't seen this and are totally fine with just the sound, it begins with Eric walking down a tree-lined street with a tactical shotgun, just open carrying. And during the action music part, a door is busted down, a smoke grenade is tossed into an abandoned home.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 7 guys in fatigues.
Yeah, they just storm in, guns pointed everywhere, heavily indicating that maybe rhinos should literally be hunted down, as in Republicans in name only. And don't just take my word for it. As Eric would state, I'm just a snowflake full of faux outrage. What do I know? Well, according to the Fraternal Order of Police in Missouri, they declared the ad as deplorable, and the Eagle Forum PAC, which was started by Phyllis Schlafly, stated it was deeply disturbing.
I mean, you had me at the fraternal order of the police. Like,
Yeah.
they like everything.
Right. I mean, I should say that they have also endorsed Eric Schmidt, so that might be part of why they're saying this. Like, if Eric did this ad, they might be okay. But I would also like to point, I went to his campaign website to see if you can actually get a rhino hunting permit. And the only reason I did this is when he ran for governor, he sold ISIS hunting permits.
Oh, I mean,
I figured he'd do the same thing, but no, I guess he's too much of a fucking cancel culture wuss to do that. I don't know why that made me so mad to be like, you're gonna call me a snowflake and you're not even gonna commit to your own bit. Fuck you.
Commit to the bit, fucking pansy.
And yeah, so Eric's leading the polls with an aggregate of 24.8%. But wait, it gets worse. While Trump has yet to endorse a candidate, almost everyone from Trump world is backing Greitens. But then again, Trump is easily bought/convinced by Peter Thiel to endorse people, and old Pete loves him from Eric Schmidt. Either way, though, the top three choices are a bigot, a racist, and a rapist, allegedly. And, I think it's really kind of said best by the saint among men, C.W. Gardner. I think you need to see C.W. just to get an idea.
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Hey, folks. Sorry, I'm just finishing up some work here, filling potholes. Unlike my U.S. Senate opponents, I like to fix problems, not create them with general incompetence and ridiculous culture wars. I'm fixing things. Those folks and their attitudes ain't for me. Me? I'll fight a culture war, but I'd rather just get shit done. Like fixing potholes. Damn street craters. When I get to Washington, D.C., I plan on introducing my Pot for Potholes legislation. Legalize marijuana at the federal level and take a portion of the tax money collected to bankroll research and development for pothole eradication. I want to couple that with launching a national pothole task force. Scientists, engineers, manufacturers, entrepreneurs, and federally funded research universities all working toward a common goal: eradicating potholes from this great country. An undertaking on the scale of the Manhattan Project. We'll call it the Missouri Project. That's what you get with me. I'm C.W. Gardner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate. For you, Missouri. And Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love
He's
him.
the goddamn best.
I want to meet him for kielbasa and beer.
Right? Oh my God, he seems like he'd be amazing for that.
He's sunglasses away from looking like Bill Swarsky's The Bears sketch.
Oh my God. Supposedly he also grew that mustache just to run for Senate.
He's a smart man.
It's a good
It
mustache.
works.
Not many people
Yes.
pull off mustaches well, but
No.
he fucking nailed it. So clearly, the Democrats must be flooded with big name, high value candidates for what could be their darkest of 4 seats to overturn. Well, Una, it does give me great pleasure to say that there is a candidate wrecking the competition on the Democratic side. With 63% support in the last unbiased poll, we have the most fearsome candidate in the political world: undecided.
Dusty, no, stop it.
Which means in part 2, we are going to go deep and figure out how undecided could possibly be beating 11 corporeal candidates. And also kind of considering the fact, literally any of them could win with numbers like that. But until then, I guess fuck, marry, banish, Una.
Oh my God.
Of this pool of humans.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll absolutely banish Eric Gartens because rapist, allegedly. I mean, I would marry CW, obviously, in a heartbeat. It's a good man. And then, I don't know, it's just a swath of like generic bonkos.
Yeah.
I don't know what to take from that.
I mean, I would say if it helps, I 100% agree. I like a marriage with CW would be a wonderful thing. Eric Greitens can just take a long walk off a short pier. I think if I had to pick someone for the fuck, it would probably be Dave Schatz. Just because his ideas indicate a short-term memory, or at least a short attention
Yes.
span. And he seems like the sort of guy that, like, late at the end of the night, you'd be like, sure, fuck it, why not?
Yes.
And then have no worries about never calling back.
I forgot about Schatz in the avalanche of terribleness that came directly after. But yes, Schatz. I will also, because it's Missouri, say I'm not fucking anyone because I'm not going to put myself in risk of being an abortion.
Yeah, let's pretend that you have an ethereal IUD.
Double bag condoms.
Yes, yeah. Before
A
every
fistful of
sex,
Plan
I will
B.
give you a vasectomy.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I would almost say a good runner-up for fuck might be Hartford Cougar Tunnel, just because it's a great name to say that you fuck someone. I mean,
That's absolutely a one night stand.
oh yeah. You're at a dive bar in the middle of nowhere, and like
Right.
some guy says, "Hi, my name's Cougar."
You've
You're like,
been
fuck it,
mixing
why not?
tequila with every other liquor on the planet.
I have been drinking Fireball like my life is over tomorrow. Sure. On that note, I think it's a happy enough note for what we were
Yes.
talking about. So thank y'all for joining us this week. We'll see you next week talking about the Democrats running for Senate in Missouri.
Big D.
Yeah. And then after that, American Antipopes, man. It's gonna be I have to learn a lot about Catholicism in a short time, and I don't know how that's gonna go. Una, I might
Cracks
need your
knuckles.
help.
I'm on it.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see y'all next time here on Gadfly. It's a trash fire. Oh my god. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?